of what he had to say yesterday?
Well, I predicted it in the newspaper on Sunday.
You did?
I went to speak to the clerks on Friday. It seemed to me obvious you can't bring back the same... Just can't bring back the same...
So why was it a surprise to number 10, do you think?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would have thought somebody in number 10 should know how Parliament works. Apparently they didn't.
What do you think the answer is? Why do you think they didn't know?
I have no idea. You're going to have to ask them, Matt. It seems to me extraordinary, but there we go.
OK, so where does it leave us?
Well, we know that the Prime Minister is going to go back to the Council of Europe on Thursday, and that's the Thursday and Friday Council. What I hope she would do is go back and say we want a transition of 9 months, effectively a standstill. We come out of the EU on the 29th of March, have a 9-month standstill. It's something that I think they've already offered informally, and I'd like to see that. That's what I'd like to see the Prime Minister do.
Where is this leaving the Prime Minister? She either goes for a short extension. Our incoming political editor, Beth Rigby, was explaining this to us a short time ago. A short extension or a longer extension. If she goes for an extension that is 2 years, for example, she's toast, isn't she? You're going to say she's toast anyway, aren't you?
No, I think she's burnt toast. I mean, the point is 2/3 of the MPs of her own party voted last week that we would not seek an extension past the 29th of March. She has said 108 times in the House of Commons we're coming out on the 29th of March. What I want to see happen is go for a 9-month standstill, come out on the 29th of March, but everything remains as it is for that 9 months while we sort the details out. That's what I'd hope she would do, and that would command, I think, certainly would command widespread support amongst Conservatives.
Yeah. Beth Rigby is standing in the wings. Yeah. I'm not sure she completely agrees with you there.
No, are you proposing that the EU just allow us to extend? What do they get in return for doing that? Well, you said a standstill 9-month extension. How would that work?
Well, it has already been sort of announced by I think it was the former Agriculture Minister who said in his resignation letter that this had already been agreed.
George Eustace.
Yes, and that was in his resignation letter. But the advantage is you don't have what people call this cliff edge. I mean, I don't call it cliff edge, but from the EU's point of view and from our point of view, instead of everything being done boom on the 29th of March, it's done 9 months later. So yes, it is a no deal, but it is a managed no deal. And I think she would then honour her commitment to the British people, and we'd also have a process where there wouldn't be any problem on the 29th of March.
Yeah, but Beth's question was, what's in it for the EU?
The EU have the same issues that we have. They don't want confusion on the 29th of March. We're the 5th biggest economy in the world. They sell £100 billion more to us each year than we sell to them. Of course they want a trading system that runs smoothly.
And if they didn't agree to that, would you be happy just to leave with no managed, no deal?
Absolutely. The law of the land says that we're going to come out on the 29th of March. We're 10 days away. By the time this comes back to Parliament, we'll be 4 days away from leaving the European Union. Surely, not at that stage, is the government going to try and pull Brexit away from the British people and go for some mythical 2-year extension. I don't think that 2-year extension would go through Parliament, and of course the Prime Minister would lose complete support from Conservative MPs.
Why don't you think it wouldn't go through Parliament? Because you don't think Parliament would support a long extension?
I don't, because I think there will be Labour MPs who would say, we can't do that. We are committed. We were committed in our manifesto.
An overwhelming majority of MPs have voted to extend Article 50. An overwhelming majority. Yes. I think you're...
No.
I think you're misguided, aren't you?
Well...
Aren't you being unrealistic?
What did they... 2/3 of Conservative MPs didn't vote for that, but they didn't vote for an extension of 2 years. They were talking about an extension to the 30th of June. That's a different issue.
Yeah,
it's not a long extension.
Saying that, Beth was saying all MPs, not just Conservative MPs.
Wasn't it over 400 MPs voted for a long extension?
And the motion said...
Or for an extension,
yes, did it not say the motion that she would go back and try and get a deal through, and then the extension would be to the 30th of June? That's all the motion said.
And I'm saying to you that with the option of a managed no deal or a long extension, do you genuinely think that Parliament would vote for a no deal?
Oh, I think they'd vote for a managed no deal if she could.
You actually think that?
I'm sure, but we probably be talking about this next week.
Why? You're sure about it?
I just don't think that's where Parliament is. I think that's where a number of your colleagues are, and I also am not sure it's where your Prime Minister is. Are you?
Well, the question is entirely, as you rightly say, in the Prime Minister's hand and the Cabinet. And I'm just saying she has a message. 2/3 of the MPs don't want to go past the 29th of March. She said 108 times...
On her benches.
100, yes, on her benches. 108 times in the House of Commons. She said we're not going past the 29th of March. The British people expect us to come out on the 29th of March, be a brave or foolhardy Prime Minister to try to change that.
What options does she have at this stage?
Well, I think she should go back and try to get a managed deal, as I suggested.
But as you say, she's run out of time.
No, she can do this on Thursday.
A managed deal on Thursday, even
Why
though
not?
it's taken her 2 years to get to where we are.
I did say it's already been agreed privately, and that's what. That's the fact that they've already offered us this privately, this 9-month standstill if we come out on what you would call a no-deal basis.
Mr. Bain, can I just ask you a couple of things? You said that you thought she was not just toast, but already burnt toast.
No, I didn't say already. She would be burnt toast.
She would be burnt
Yes,
toast. And then you said it would be a foolhardy Prime Minister.
Or brave.
Or brave, who would try and extend Article 50 against the will of her backbenchers. So what happens on the Brexiteer side if the Prime Minister does come back and ask for a long extension because she can't get her deal through? Then what do you do?
I think the mistake is to assume that the 2/3 that voted against extending Article 50 were Brexiteer MPs. I think they were from all wings because we'd promised the British people something and the Conservative Party needs to honour it. The government needs to honour it.
So what do you actually do? Do you tap her on the shoulder and say it's time to leave Number 10? I mean, do you have a vote against her government? What do you do? I don't know what you do. You had your vote of confidence, you lost it. She's still in there. You can't get her out.
I actually think that she has no intention of going for a long extension. I just don't think the Prime Minister will do it.
But that's not the question with respect, Mr. Bowes.
This is difficult.
Good, that's the idea.
But what I mean is, if the Prime Minister does ask for a longer extension, which she might have to do...
I don't think she will.
But if she
does...
did, how do you get her out of Number 10? You can't. She's there until December.
The Prime Minister... It's entirely up to the Prime Minister whether she resigns or not, and pressure might be put on. I just do not see any Prime Minister, let alone Mrs May say, who said so often that we're coming out the 29th of March 2019 to say we're not going to come out until March 2021. I mean, that's farcical. I know people are talking about all sorts of things that seem very strange, but that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
Would you ever vote against your own government in a vote of confidence?
There you go, that's the question.
Would you ever do that?
Why would a Conservative want to vote against a Conservative government?
Because she just extended Article 50 for 2 years.
But she's not going to. But this is the silly thing. You're talking about something that's not going to happen. She might rush off and take Jeremy Corbyn on holiday, but that's not going to happen.
You never know.
We'll see.
I've got neck ache now.
Yeah, good. It's good to talk to you, Mr. Bowes. Thank you.